I've talked about so many different topics about S&box, covered games being created by the community, and even interviewed developers within the community who are also working within S&box. But today we're diving straight into the deep end and talking about one of the most sought out and asked questions other than the release date, which is monetization for the game itself. Hi, I'm Iridium. Now, before we get into this video, I do want to preference that this video is meant to be more of a conversation starter. Any sort of ideas or topics that I do talk about within this video are purely speculation. I do not have any sort of insight in what FacePunch is or will be doing at all. Just letting you know. While S&box is slowly but surely chugging along with more recent updates, like the Viz code that was sent out by Daddy Valve, to updating SFM to provide their own asset browser within the program with their own code, there's still a lot of groundwork that needs to be done, it seems, for the game itself. Now, to go beyond what Garry's Mod is as a spiritual successor, you're probably going to need to implement some new quality of life features that make S&box even worth your time to want to play or even look at. While the game itself is essentially a platform within a game, the biggest issue is always going to stem around how are you going to price it? It's one of the most essential things, especially now, with majority of games being the way that they are, as either half-baked or unfinished piles of straight dumpster juice oozing out the dumpster itself. So there's three possible options here. 1, the dreaded early access option, which I'll describe as dreaded in a minute. 2, a set price, or 3, the wildcard option, which is free to play. Starting off with the dreaded early access option, and why I named that in the first place is because of expectations. While I somewhat remember the early days of Garry's Mod, I'm not really sure if it was ever in early access or just rather updated as a full game over the years. But expectations are everything, and with how the current state of S&box is, if it were to go into early access, obviously I would think it'd be mixed reviews because of any of these reasons right here. But that shouldn't be the point because it's early access, and if you think this game's ass because you spent $20 or $30, that's even if depending if it would even cost that much, then that's truly on you. You know what you were getting into when it mentioned early access. So just for fun at that point. This can be a dreaded experience because you really don't even know what to expect. One week the game could be fine, and then the next week something's broken. But the only added benefit of even making the game in early access would be the amount of people and developers who are interested in getting access so more content can get made for the game itself. And of course, I can cover it for the channel so I can attempt to give more people a reason to give it a shot and possibly play this game with their friends too. Next is a set price. Garry's Mod itself sits on Steam at $10 USD. For S&box to be released as a full product and how much it would cost would totally depend on how much actual features, content, and tools would be provided with the game. My assumption would be at least $20 to $25 maximum, $30 if we're really crazy. But the game itself would have to be insane by release. Still, a lot better than paying $70 flippin' for some pile of dung. And last but not least would be the free-to-play option. Now, let me tell you why the free-to-play option would be pretty much a double-edged sword for S&box. The game being free-to-play could possibly compete, as I would say it lightly, with Roblox. The only reason why I say this is because, of course, Roblox is available on every platform in existence, it's free for anyone to play, and you can buy currency for it. Oh wait, did you say currency? Yeah, so here's what some people don't want to think about if S&box would be free to play. There would have to be a method for FacePunch making the game itself profitable so they don't go bankrupt. Yes, I know they have Rust and Gmod itself, of course, but again, this truly falls on them as a game company and also as a business. They would have to think of either going with some sort of weird currency or something to properly create profit for the developers that are actually making content for the game, which yes, that's what we're also talking about within this video too. I'm not sure where exactly an official statement was mentioned about this, but the idea is that FacePunch obviously wants to find a way to properly compensate the developers who publish their games on S&box as a way to pay them for creating and posting their stuff. Keep developers who are satisfied and getting paid for their creative efforts, which leads to more content, which also leads into more people playing and supporting the game, which then leads to more updates and opportunities for FacePunch to provide both players and developers to enhance the game even further. Now, if you've gotten this far, then you're pretty much very invested in this. Let's talk about content. I've probably mentioned this around like 20 to 30 times throughout the different videos I've done on S&box, but content will really make or break what S&box truly is as a game. So far, it's starting to get a lot more interesting with so many small collectives of developers posting their content and what they're making on YouTube as personal game showcases. The idea that content developers create on S&box is going to be super intertwined within the community itself more than it has been on Garry's Mod. The fact that you'll be able to expect more content brought straight to you directly through whichever game you play on S&box is a really good thing. Finally, let's talk about something it seems like a ton of people who aren't familiar with S&box are kind of getting crazy about, which is, again, expectations. I do understand for some people, they might be upset that to them, that S&box doesn't seem to be their glorified Garry's Mod 2, like majority of those weird Garry's Mod and Source 2 modded visual videos on YouTube. Seriously, those videos are super wild and misleading, but they're so much fun to watch. The expectations for a game that are not even out yet is insane. Yes, I do understand that current game standards are kind of in a bad place right now, because either it's underdeveloped, half-baked, or overhyped. Face Punch is not by any means a AAA company. There's still an indie studio that's trying to create games that want to last far longer than most of these modern AAA studios that don't know what to even do within their own franchise. Regardless of what you feel or think about the game, the purpose of why I even started creating videos on this game was to inform, showcase, and present what's possible within the game itself. We really don't know how the game is going to be marketed, created, or even presented until it's fully done. For now, all we'll have to do is wait and truly see what will happen and where S&box will actually go. If you enjoyed this video and you really like the idea of this game, you'll probably enjoy this video right here on screen where I talk a bit more about the possibility of S&box maybe becoming a big hit within VR. Otherwise, thank you for watching.